Hey guys, and welcome back to the Accumulation Zone. In today's video I'm gonna be showing you of how I coded this house viewed LSMA strategy, because it is a very simple code and it's pretty easy to understand of how the strategy works. I'm gonna do my best at explaining it. This is a strategy by TradeIQ. He's not claiming a very high win rate. He's only claiming 400 something % profit over the past 10 days on a 1 minute gold spot US dollar chart on forex.com here. And we can already see something's wrong. He is using a 4 risk to reward setting here on this for the strategy. And basically what he is looking for is he wants to see the white LSMA here, this white line here, crossing the house viewed indicator. And as soon as this cross is happening, like exactly right here on this candle, he wants a green house viewed, so it hasn't changed its trend color yet. And then he's placing his stop loss on the most recent swing high, looking for a 4 risk to reward. So most of the time those trades take ages to play out. So yeah, we are just going to, I mean, you see the trades. We had the cross here, we had the vice versa condition here. We had the LSMA crossing bullish above the house viewed. At this point in time, the house viewed was still colored in red. So we place our stop loss at the most recent swing low, which was detected right here. Even if we would have placed it down here, this trade would have never worked out. I don't like this strategy. I'm already shared my opinion about the strategy in my other video, but let's get down to some coding. I prepared my template here. If you want access to that template, it's part of my Patreon Google Drive. So if you want to use this template to, I don't know, code your own strategy consisting of a few different indicators, you can go to my Patreon, support me there, and support this YouTube channel and all the work I'm doing here. And yeah, so I'd say let's get started. So this is the boilerplate. Right now, all we need to make this boilerplate complete is the 2 indicators the strategy is consisting of. So we have the LSMA indicator and we need the house viewed indicator by in silico. So now we have those 2 indicators on our chart. We are going to open a source code. Let's start with the LSMA. Upsala, we didn't want to do that. So we go back here and now we have the least squared moving average indicator. We're gonna copy everything except that top line, and we have to make sure that the script or the source code we are copying from is from Pine script version 5. So this is at version 5, so that's all good. We copy this and paste it in our boilerplate. Scroll down a little bit. Here's the space where the indicators belong. I already created a little variable where we store the name for the group we want to store it in, so the indicator or the strategy settings look cleaner. So we're gonna paste that in here. This didn't work. Let's go back. Command C. Go over to our boilerplate and paste it in here. So now all we are going to do is we are going to write group. And TradingView now had a new update, so it's basically already helping you to autofill, or if you don't know the exact code syntax, it's helping you. And it's way easier, even for me. So now we are going to set this to the group G LSMA. Same here. Group G underscore LSMA. And you see, I only typed in a capital G and it already knows so roughly what I want to fill in. So it gives me different suggestions here in this little box. But we want to put it into the group of the G LSMA. And least but not last, let's put it in here. Group equals G LSMA. And then in the next line, it's calculating this LSMA using the TA Lin regression. That's just a code syntax basically, and it's using the source, the length, and the offset. We are going to code as the length of the LSMA, because sometimes if you're combining too many indicators, you get problems. So I like to separate them each by name. So source, LSMA, but now we change the names of them. We also have to change them here where we calculate the LSMA itself. Underscore LSMA, offset underscore LSMA. So now the only thing that's left to do in his video, TradeIQ is choosing the color white for this for the LSMA indicator. So we are going to choose color dot color dot white, and then we're gonna separate this by a comma and give it the argument of line width. So now it's already suggested me this argument. I just have to click on it. Line width. We're gonna leave this at a setting of 2, and we are all done for the LSMA. So now we go back and we grab the code of our house yield indicator, and this time we see that this indicator is coded in the PineScript version 4. So what you have to do now is click on those 3 little dots up in the right corner and create a script copy. You click on save, and now you click on it again, and as long as it's in PineScript version 3, you can convert it up to 5 without even having anything to know about coding. So we just click on convert to version 5, Uppsala again. So we click on it, and we already done it. At version 5, basic LMA pack tinkered by in silico. So again, all this, it's not interesting to us. We only gonna copy everything below that. Command C, go back over to our template, and we paste it in here. So all we're doing now is we are going to copy. Now let's write in here. To sort it better in the strategy settings, we're gonna call it group, and then we should write G_HS. So we copy this whole thing here with the comma, with the separator, and paste it into all those lines, because those are all the inputs that you can modify in the settings tab, and we want them sorted so they're not all over the place. Alright, paste it in here, paste it in here, paste it in here, paste it in here, and paste it in here. Another thing is that he does not, in his strategy, or in the strategy he tested basically, he is using the house width not as a band, he's using it as a line. So instead of true, we're gonna give it the input of false. And now we would see the house yield indicator as a line, and the thickness we're gonna modify that to 2, so we don't have to do all those things manually every time we want to use this preset of strategies. All right, that's basically all done. Now let's scroll down and make sure that we double check. Yep, everything looks all right. So now we're basically done. All we have to do now is use the information from those 2 indicators and translate the strategy rules into code. So if you remember, what we were looking for is we enter a long position if, let me close this quickly, we enter a long position, or we want the script to enter into a long position if the LSMA is crossing bullish above the house yield indicator. So how are we going to do that? Here in the strategy logic and execution section of the template, we are going to basically translate from like what I just said into code. So right in here, we write main strategy long and short entry condition. So let's call it the long condition main and a short condition main. And after we created this, we're gonna type an equal sign behind it. And now we want to only receive the signal if the LSMA is crossing bullish above the house yield indicator. So what we have to do now is we simply type in TA dot. And now you get all those different suggestions of what you can do. TA, EMA. So you don't have to actually code the mathematics behind how an EMA, a Hull MA, the lowest bars, the MACD, and everything is calculated. We only want to use a crossover function. So we can see those lines are crossing over. So we simply write here TA crossover, and we want to see the LSMA crossing over the Hull. And from where do I know what to write in here? I simply go back up to the indicators we're using with the strategy, and the LSMA is referred by typing in LSMA. That's where the values of the LSMA come from. Here everything's calculated with the TA linear regression built-in function by PineScript. So we know this, and if we go down to the house yield, we can see that they reference the Hull as capital HULL. And because the basic version of the indicator is using the band, it's referencing back the Hull variable here into M Hull and S Hull, which is basically the moving Hull and the slow Hull. So the slow Hull, all it is, it's basically the Hull MA, but only the price or the closing price or the level of where it currently is sitting at 2 candles ago. So it's basically a little bit of a delay built in here to create this band. But we don't care about the band, we only care about the Hull calculation, which is all done in here. So all we have to do down here is to write the crossover of LSMA and the Hull. And now for the short condition, we want to see a cross under of the LSMA and the Hull. Alright, so the first condition is done. The next strategy rule was that we want to have a bearish house yield line here if we go long, and a bullish house yield line if we go short. So how do we do that? I'm gonna write bearish, bullish house yield line, make it simple. And we're gonna call this house yield color long equal sign and house yield color underscore short equal sign. I try to explain it as simple as I can without all the coding knowledge or whatever. You don't really need it. So we have the house yield color long, and the house yield color long, if we go up here, we can check the code and we see our house yield color. The Hull color is bullish if the house yield is larger than the house yield 2 candles ago. So we copy this and we use this and we type this in to the short condition because we want a bullish house yield, a green colored house yield, if we want to go short, and vice versa for long. So all we have to do here, paste it in here, and we have to say the Hull must be smaller than the house yield 2 candles ago, and then the color is changing. So that's all done. So now we have the color input, we have the crossover input. The only thing that is left to do is nothing. That's all done. We only need the color and we need the crossover. What we could add now is, for example, now we have to, actually, sorry, I forgot about that. the bullish candle here, or the candle, whatever candle it is, has to be closing above house view and LSMA in order to take a long position here. So now let's finish that last bit here. Let's make a little explanation. I like to do that. So for example, if I go back to the script, I simply know what has been done in the lines below my little comment above here. So we use 2 forward slashes and we write close above below house view and LSMA. So we are going to call this close long, and we're gonna call this close short condition, close long condition, equal sign after it. So we are defining it. So now we're giving we're defining the rules for this close long condition. And for a close long condition, we want to have the close. So we type in close larger than the LSMA, and we want the close to be larger, I already typed that, than the hull. Same here, just vice versa. Here we want the close to be smaller than the LSMA and the close to be smaller than a hull. So now all our strategy rules are completed in just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in 6 lines basically. Everything else is already done in the boilerplate, so you don't have to worry about anything else if you want to try coding and give it a go, because it's really not that hard, especially PineScript. It's a super simple coding language. So the next part would be to check all conditions, so the script knows when to go long and when to go short. So for the long condition, we need the long underscore condition underscore main, this one up here. So the long condition main basically references the TA crossover of the LSMA and the HAR. We also need the house viewed color long, and we need the close long condition in order for the script to make its final decision if we are entering a long or a short position. So we write long condition main and HS underscore color underscore long, and we need the close underscore long underscore condition. All that is predefined, so we're just making it look nice and clean, so we don't have to write everything in this one single line. And if you come back to this code, you understand it better if you do it this way. Because now we see, okay, we have our strategy rules here. We have our main strategy, long and short condition, the bearish bullish house view line, the close above the house view and the LSMA. And now we're checking all those conditions. So here we would type short condition underscore main and HS color short, so the house view has to be colored red, and we want the close short condition. And now we're basically all done, because all the rest is already been done by the template. All the alerts and even the automation setting, it's all done. Only all you have to modify is the indicators you want to use and the logic. And the logic is most of the time the hardest part. It also depends on how many indicators you're using and how complex the translation from your written out rules or the rules you saw in a video are to write into code. This one is pretty simple because all we need to do is a crossover, a color check, and we have to check if the current close of the candle is above or below an indicator value, which is the LSMA and the house view indicator here. And right over here, that's a new feature by TradingView that's really cool. Okay, we see we get a error code here because I wrote this wrong. We have to write color equals color dot white. And now we're done. Now we can click on save. If it's colored in orange, you don't have to worry about it. Only if something's colored in red around here, you have to fix it. Everything else, it's just a little bit old code. We can also change the transparency here of the house suit. So we're gonna give this, we just remove the whole transparency thing. All right, and then we click on save. Let's see what's happening. Alert condition has no effect. We don't really care about that. And now we can remove this one here, and we type an LSMA, how TradeIQ. That's the copy I created because I coded it before recording this video. And now we see the strategy we coded already works well. We got the exact same long condition, or the long entry right here where we wanted it. We saw we had our TA crossover. We saw that at the point of this candle close, let me go into replay mode. One more candle. One more candle. We had the crossover right on this candle as soon as this candle opened up. That's just the problem with the replay mode. So as soon as this candle closed, the next candle is opening up. We got our crossover. We still had a bearish house suit, and we closed above the LSMA and the house suit indicator. And as simple as that, you can now sift through your watch list. For example, Euro US dollar, Pound US dollar. So we see we actually get some nice results here. The win rate is set to, the risk reward is set to 4-1, like exactly like in his video. And we see the net profit is 46% with 14 losses in a row, 3 wins in a row. The win rate is sitting around 23%. It's not the best, but apparently it's making some profit. I wouldn't trade it because I think it's very important for mentally for every trader to obtain at least a win rate of 40 to 50%, because if you lose more than half of your trades, that's just gonna, I don't know, I don't like it. I don't like losing more than half of my trades. I really try to stay above 50%, especially with a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, or even a 1-to-1.5 risk reward ratio. As long as you stay above 50%, you make more than enough profit, and you just have to stick with it. And that's the most important part. So we can see the strategy is interesting and looks promising, but it is not really as profitable as TradeIQ has shown in his video. He tested it at gold on a Forex.com chart. If we go on this chart on a 1 minute time frame, we see that we actually we lost 5%. We had 25 losses in a row, a win rate of only 20% over a total of 277 trades. And see how much time it took me to code this. I know I'm a developer and I know what to do, and I know the alert syntax and the code syntax and PineScript and everything else, but it's not that hard to learn it anymore, because as soon as you write something in here, let's say I'm gonna write something in here, we say we want to define a color. See all the suggestions you get. You don't even have to know, okay, you could choose a gradient now, and then in here it explains everything. So color from gradient, it needs a value, it needs a bottom value, it needs a top value, it needs a bottom color and a top color. Simple as that. And let's go back, for example, if you want to calculate an EMA, all you would have to type in is TA dot, and then you see okay, or the suggestions, CCI. Let's do a CCI. All it needs is a source and a length. So for example, we could say the source would be the candle close. So the prices that are defined by the candle close. And we choose the length, let's say for example 20. And we're all happy, we don't get an error anymore. And now we could, for example, say plot. We would have to give this a name, let's call it CCI equals. And now we could plot the CCI. If we click on save and we go back to our chart where the indicator is loaded, we see it's loading and the CCI should be printed down here. You would have to put it into a separate pane, but that's how simple it is nowadays with PineScript to code a CCI indicator. And for example, if we want to do an RSI indicator, all we have to change is TARSI, and we click on save. And now this down here will change into an RSI indicator. And let's say you want to do an EMA, all you would have to type in is ta.ema, save it. And now we see we have a third line on here, and that's the EMA 20. And as simple as that, you coded the strategy or you watched me coding it, feel free to try it out yourself. It's actually not really that hard. Like I said, the boilerplate is part of the Patreon to support this YouTube channel and help me put my main focus on all the coding I do. For example, the SCALPER Pro, the FinALGO. I recently also just released a very, very profitable SCALPER Pro strategy I use personally to pass my FTMO challenges. So yeah, I'm excited. I like showing you guys how to code. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. So I know that you guys want to see more coding videos of the explanations behind in a very simple language of how to basically translate your strategy rules into code. And it's nowadays as simple as writing CCI equals TAEMA, give it the inputs it needs, plot it, and we're done. Simple as that. Alright guys, take care. I will see you in the next video.